was meant to be a sanctuary, a peaceful tree-lined neighborhood where families felt safe, and a sprawling sports field, welcoming in music, laughter, and community. By all accounts, this was the ideal spot for a festival. But on April 26, 2025, all that was shattered in an instant. This street, once a symbol of quiet Vancouver life, became the site of an unthinkable tragedy, one of the darkest chapters in our city's history. The scars from that day run deep, and for the first time we hear from the first responders, police, fire, and ambulance crews who ran towards the chaos. Many of them have not returned to uniform since, still grappling with the severe trauma of what they experienced. But first we begin with the human heart of the story, hearing the accounts of two survivors and the witnesses who saw the horror firsthand.
My name is Christiane Watkins, and I'm a survivor of the Lapu Lapu Day incident. Everything just kind of fell into place so perfectly, along with the weather. It was just like a really special day, like a lot of happy, smiling families. It was a really great thing to experience.
Wonderful vibes.
100%. With an event that big, obviously there's a lot of different things that need to be taken care of, so we were all split up into teams. I was helping out the production team, so along with being a performer myself, DJing on the main stage and the smaller stages, I was also organizing the breakdance competition that was happening at the smaller stage, on the dance stage.
Hey guys, we are here at Lapu Lapu Day Festival 2025. Hi, I'm Joe Chuliao, and I'm a survivor of the Lapu Lapu tragedy. I was the creative director, so I overlooked all the performances, the talents that were hired to perform.
Did you feel the positive vibe? What was it like?
Oh, it was electric. You know, the vibrancy of the energy with everyone, the community. Honestly, so memorable having, Black Eyed Peas perform their iconic songs on that John Oliver field that was just full of people and jumping and all that. I still remember it to this day when I look through, footage of that. It was just a surreal moment.
You were backstage?
I was backstage. I actually went on stage. I went on stage and I was just filming from my POV, just how, contagious that energy was, singing Filipino, Filipino.
Tell us about that competition, because your son was part of it.
Yes. Yeah, it was a really special day. He got to break dance with one of his very talented, one of his best friends, who I think really pushed him to bring out the best in his dancing. So. Along with that, with the dance stage, prior to the breakdance competitions, there was a whole bunch of cultural dances that were also being performed.
And around what time was that? That was early afternoon?
Early afternoon, because right after that wrapped, I did another DJ set, just doing some line dancing music. Electric slide, yeah.
It was a busy day for you.
Oh, I think I did that, I don't know how many blocks. I think I did that strip walking back and forth at least 5 times.
The festival ended and I just did my rounds with my team to close out all the other stages. There were 3 main stages. And so we made our trek through, and on our way back to the mixed stage, we decided to get food as it was closing down, and people were trickling out because we were hungry and didn't eat all day.
Did you get a chance to eat?
No, didn't get a chance to eat at all. We waited until after everything wrapped up. So I actually was like, it's been a long day. I just want to go home. But my son, he's like, I've been here and I've been dancing, and I just want to check it out. And conveniently, at the exact same time that we were ordering, 3 members of my production team were waiting as well. And so we were just like, hey, just kind of like, oh, so great. And we were already making plans, talking about, okay, how can we make next year's better? Yeah, we need to get together after this is all done, wrap up and talk about what we can do to make next year better.
Yeah, I remember seeing Christiane and Knox and Josh Candy. We were all kind of kikiing meaning we were all just talking.
Around what time was that at?
Around 8 o'clock, because I remember right as we were chatting, Joe had taken a selfie of all of us together.
Like the group selfie was the last recollection of what we had before the impact. Literally, we took the selfie and then 5 minutes later, because we checked the timestamp, like that's when it happened, the impact of the car, yeah.
Okay, so you were together, group selfie, and you dispersed.
We dispersed, waiting for our food, and then boom.
I'm Mohammed Saraman. I'm the owner-operator of the Malaysian food truck.
Hi, my name is Sadia Muhammad also. I'm the chef of this kampong food truck.
I remember we both came in that morning and all the trucks were lined up, and we decided to go right at the front facing the entrance towards the concert stage.
How busy was it?
Oh, very busy. Our food was sold out like before it ends. Everybody, all the Filipino community, are very nice people. They are very warm and helpful, so we kind of so happy.
The food kept ordering, kept coming and kept coming. It was like, whoa, that's a lot of people there actually, yeah. We were surprised. And they smile, they come to the truck and we're like, okay, we love it actually, yeah. We are non-stop. We kept serving. We don't even have time to take a break.
But working hard, enjoying.
Oh yes,
Oh yeah.
we're looking
Especially
forward.
when the concert has that Black Eyed Peas singer. And we were all enjoying,
Dancing.
we were dancing. All my workers were like enjoying and dancing, and we're very happy on that day actually.
Very, very happy.
Yeah.
But
I walked to the front of the windows and I tried to clean up, you know, and watching the front too at the same time. And I heard a loud bang, like a loud noise. And I thought it was an explosion. Immediately my head was, you know, looking out the window and I saw a body flying right, like quite high above here. And then I was like, oh, bang. Then she fell. I was like, I didn't see the car because he must have gone past, but it was like a surprise for me. And then we looked out of the window, we were seeing a lot of bodies lying around all the way there actually.
I saw the car, the black car, like boom, like go so fast. Then I said, what's wrong? And then I heard the bang noise. So I just pop up from the window and I saw the body in front of here and at the back too. Like I was so shaking, you know. Then we've been hugging each other. I cried. I couldn't believe it. Like.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, like the impact happened. I still don't remember. I have no recollection of what had happened leading up to it. My brain is still computing. But after the impact, I snapped out of it. I was probably like 30 seconds just frozen. That moment, I thought it was an attack. Like I thought we were getting attacked. Like, you know, I didn't know what it was because everything in front of me was just swept. And my eyes didn't want to like look down because I think it was just protecting me. And the first thing was fight or flight mode was just to find safety. And so I went behind the food trucks with my friend, and that's where I felt my shins and I buckled.
What did you hear or see?
So I didn't lose consciousness. I remember everything. I remember hearing everything. Something that's always stayed with me with my parents is the kids are always on the inside of the street. Parents walk on the outside. So Noxie was holding my right hand and he was on the sidewalk. And then I just remember, like the only thing that makes sense to me at the time was that I'm getting hit by something. Just like the crashing of like metal, the sounds of metal, and just images of like bright lights or just getting hit. Like that's, I can't explain it any more than that, but just I know what my experience was. Everything happened after the crash was done. I landed on my side and immediately thinking, where's Knox? Someone immediately just ran to me and held their hands against my head, telling me not to move my neck. And them talking to somebody else just arm's length away from me, saying, don't stop doing CPR, she has no pulse, don't stop doing CPR, she has no pulse. In my mind, I started panicking because my son has shoulder length hair. He gets mistaken for a girl all the time. So in that moment of them doing CPR on this girl person that they thought was a girl, I started panicking, thinking that it was Knox. And then there was somebody like right above me, and I was literally just begging. I'm like, is this my son? Where's my son? Is this my son? Just thinking that's who they were helping. A friend of mine who I've been friends with for since I was 16, she kind of like appeared above me, and she's like, no, I have Knox, he's okay. Don't worry, I have Knox. And it took a minute for me to kind of like make sense of what she was saying. And then me and her made eye contact, and she was, the look on her face, she was just like terrified. She kind of was like, I have to go, I have to take care of Knox. And so I felt a little bit better knowing that not only is she someone that I've been friends with forever, it's someone that he knows. Mm-hmm. So I kind of let that worry go.
Knox was unhurt, untouched.
No, he was hurt.
He was hurt.
Yeah. So.
But you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Okay. What were his injuries?
He had a laceration to the spleen, and he had a fractured nose bridge. So he had to be in the hospital for, I think, one night. He doesn't remember anything at all. Nothing. And we've spoken to therapists and counselors and stuff, and they've all, have said that it's just his brain trying to protect him. So he definitely saw a lot more than I did. But he doesn't remember it.
What were your injuries? Do you know off by hand?
I do. There's so many that I might have forgotten some. So fractured right knee, fractured left pelvis, laceration to my kidney, laceration to my spleen, broken ribs on the left side, one of which had poked through my back, which is why it was, broken bone in my neck, fractured bone in my neck, and a huge laceration to my head, and road rash from my ankles all the way up.
You were thrown.
What I'm kind of understanding it to be is kind of like getting kicked like a soccer ball. So I kind of was hit, and then I just kind of like skidded on the ground.
My name is Jesse Schellenberg. I'm a sergeant with the Vancouver Police Department in their Operations Patrol Division. Oddly enough, I was driving just moments before the call came in. I was driving southbound on Fraser Street just up to 41st, and I saw a large crowd of people, like a very large crowd, and I assumed maybe there was something going on at the high school, and maybe there was a sports game letting out, but everything looked pretty peaceful, pretty normal. So I turned and I drove eastbound on 41st. And by the time I got to around Victoria, some of the calls started coming in.
Hi, I'm Bronwyn Kirk. I'm a constable with Vancouver Police Department. I was working in District 4, and my partner and I, like I said, we were just on routine patrol, and we heard a call come over for a hit and run, pedestrian hit and run, which is kind of normal in Vancouver. Unfortunately, there are lots of hit and runs with pedestrians.
I'm Constable Jamie the Baker. I don't remember the exact time, but I just remember it came in that there was a vehicle that hit a pedestrian.
My partner at the time, who is my field trainer, told me we'll go help out. And so I started driving towards the area of Fraser and 42nd.
But once more broadcasts came in, and it turned into multiple casualties, we obviously knew something was wrong.
Oh my days, help.
I'm not even sure you could describe the horror that I first saw. You get out of your car and you just see everything that has been in reports and all the horror that was in front of you.
I remember just looking down 42nd from Fraser, and it was just absolute chaos. There were people screaming, people lying on the ground, and I think in that moment I couldn't really process what exactly I was looking at, because in my head we were going to a hit and run.
I was not expecting to see what I did. It was much more than I imagined. It was just chaos.
We are now Fraser 41st.
When I turned the corner, I saw multiple people on the ground, just wreckage.
I don't think in that moment it felt very real. During, those first few moments on scene, your brain is trying to adjust to what you're seeing, and I don't think that I was able to really process exactly what had happened. I just knew that I needed to help and kind of do my part as a police officer.
People crying for help, and paramedics were there on scene, other police, fire, everyone's rushing to try and help people, and obviously we go straight in and do our best as well to do what we can.
My attention was broken because there was a large group of people calling, over here, over here. So I looked and I saw that everyone was cornering someone up against a fence. Based on the totality of circumstances, I knew that this was likely the driver of the car.
So you're the first officer to encounter the suspect?
Yes. I could see when I first parked that there was a car in front of me that had its front end smashed in completely, and I understood that this was likely going to be a mass casualty incident, so I knew that this person needed to be arrested. So I grabbed him. I started walking him away from the area where everyone was containing him by the fence, and the crowd started to turn quite hostile. There were people grabbing onto myself, grabbing onto the suspect. So at that point I was pretty worried that we were going to get swarmed, and that it could turn violent. So I actually had to my partner and we had to run out of the scene with the individual. We had to run up Fraser a little bit so that people stopped following us. And we arrested him, and once we could tell that no one else was going to come and follow us from there, I left him with my partner and I returned.
If you look down the street, there's people just unfortunately alive and deceased laying on the ground. There's food trucks that were also wrecked and demolished. There's multiple people saying that my family's in there, my friends are in there. I also have my radio going on, but honestly at that time I could not make out what was going on in my ear because of just all the stuff I was trying to take in front of me.
Nothing on this scale, nothing of this size. I don't know if anyone in the VPD has ever been a part of anything this catastrophic before.
The sheer amount of people that were laying on the ground injured. The vehicle, I think seeing the damage to the vehicle was pretty shocking, and I think the sensations of like what you're hearing, people screaming, you see kids, you're seeing people on the ground with horrible injuries. There's obviously people deceased as well. So I think it's the volume and the significance of what you're seeing.
We're asking paramedics, like, what can we do to help you? We end up mainly moving casualties that couldn't walk or couldn't move to the ambulance collection point.
One of the things that we're trained on as police officers is to be able to do that quick triaging of who needs our attention and who doesn't. And I guess the best way to describe it is you try and find the quiet ones. You try and find the people who can't call out for help, who are unconscious or losing consciousness, who have no one else around them who's not caring for them, and try and get them care. I remember multiple people with pretty significant injuries calling out asking for help, and you just have to bypass them and find the more gravely injured and then work your way back.
It was definitely tough because firstly you want to identify the person, and I couldn't find any ID on them. So that's tough. And also I know that this is someone's like father, someone's husband, someone's child. And I want, you know, I know that they're already deceased, but I want to be there for them. So not being able to ID them and them looking like my father or remind me of my father, and just looking down and seeing just multiple bodies covered in blankets, and then seeing little baby shoes right beside me. It was just a tough scene.
But the worst was definitely on one of the subsequent passes. As I come back, I saw a little girl crying off to the side. She was probably about 5 or 6 years old. And I saw two people, two ladies who were holding up a phone in front of her face. The girl was standing next to a woman who had passed on the sidewalk. And this 6-year-old had a phone held up in front of her face. And these two ladies were playing cartoons on the phone to try and comfort this girl. And she was just wailing. And her cries of sorrow were they're burned into my mind. And so as this girl is crying, obviously this isn't a spot where any child should ever have to be. So my first priority was, how can we move this child along to somewhere safe, somewhere where they don't have to be around this? So I asked the two ladies who were with the girl, can you get your daughter out of here? And they said, it's not our daughter. And I said, okay, well, whoever this is to you, can you try and get your child out of here? And they said, can you come here, officer? And so I leaned in and they said, that's her mother who had passed. So this child was trying to figure out how to process that kind of trauma next to her dead mom with a cartoon she had no awareness was even playing.
You know, that evening we were able to do like a debrief. So we have like our CISM team, and I think sitting there and you know, sitting with other members that attended and sitting with members, sergeants, people that had been on the road for a long time, and just listening to them talk about how it affected them, I was like, okay, this is really big. And I think
not just you.
It's not just me, and I think that was really like important and very helpful for me, obviously being very junior, maybe one of the most junior people on the road or that attended that day. For me it was quite difficult because I think it was the week after the festival. I had to go back to the academy to finish the rest of my training, and so I didn't really have any time off and to be able to process what happened. And so a lot of my processing happened while I was still in training, and you know, there was a lot of training that was geared towards kind of mass casualty events and medical training, and so it was super triggering for me. And there were definitely moments while I was at the academy that I really had to like step out just to be able to gather myself. And you know, there were moments where I would cry about something that seemed completely unrelated. Or I would hear something, or I would see something that just triggered an emotional response, and maybe I didn't really realize in the moment how that was affecting me.
I remember actually that night, so all of my squad was there, the squad that I'm responsible for. We met in the office afterward, and I sat across from them, and I asked to meet with all of them as a group together afterward. And I've never been more lost as in leadership in my life. What do you say to people who've been through that? I had no idea. I don't remember what I said now. It was probably terrible, and I don't know what you say to someone who's been through what they went through, but I do remember I just gave everyone the opportunity, like, take as much time as you need. I went home, I went to bed, and I showed up to work the next day. It was obviously the most traumatic moment of most everyone's lives, and probably to the day they die will stay that most traumatic moment. The work that they were doing was amazing. There were people who were standing next to deceased people for hours, guarding them for evidentiary purposes, to preserve their story, to pass on to follow-up investigators. I and didn't ask for a thing. There were members who finally, into the wee hours in the morning, were offered a jacket by members of the public, and I talked to them afterwards. They said they didn't even realize they were cold.
It's a lot different when you're there in person, because if you see on the news like 8 people passed away with this mass casualty, when you're there in the front line, it's so much different. Like one person, their life is so full, and so many people are affected by one person passing away. It's heartbreaking how much carnage and hurt and trauma this one person caused. And my heart is just with like the victims, the families, and like even everyone who was there. Everyone's gonna have trauma from this event.
I haven't got to a place yet where I've been back and been able to go back and maybe be able to show my grief, you know, to the victims. And yeah, it's something that's been on my mind, and I haven't done it yet, but I hope that I can sometime soon.
No, I go there. I go there still. I drive through the block. On nice quiet nights, I'll still drive through. I refuse to let what happened completely taint my experience of this job or this city, or this block is now somehow poison. I refuse to let it do that, and I know a lot of other members have that same mentality. It's my city, it's my block. I run it. I'll do what I want, and I won't let that incident make me feel otherwise.
Hi, my name's Tanya Hish, and I'm an advanced care paramedic with the BC Emergency Health Service. The call came in when we were at the station cleaning up from a previous call, and at that point we started driving to the event.
Hi, I'm Katrina Bowen-Kwok. I'm the Clinical Operations Director for Vancouver Coastal South for BCEHS. That night, I just put my kids to bed, and I received a text message saying that there's this incoming event, and it sounds quite significant.
My name is Eliza Rideout, and I'm a paramedic. I was at the hospital with a patient at the time, and our radio started lighting up with activity. We heard dispatch on the radio, starting to call in resources, extra resources, and we knew something was happening.
So as my work phone is going off, hearing that people were being struck by a vehicle, my personal phone is also going off at the same time with medics who are talking to paramedics driving to this call, or who are going and tending themselves and saying that the numbers were just unreal.
As we were leaving, we started to see the first wave of critical patients arriving at the hospital. We seeing their state, as well as the paramedics who were bringing them in. It was, we knew something major was happening.
There was multiple ambulance units arriving on scene, multiple police units, multiple fire units. It was a lot of movement and chaos at the beginning. Everything was kind of unfolding in those first initial moments.
In addition to all of the festival goers and bystanders, there was paramedics of all license levels just arriving in waves. There was firefighters, police, so many vehicles and personnel, and just a lot going on. It was loud, a lot of people yelling, trying to communicate as best we could during that time. And bystanders, crying or just wandering around, not knowing where to go or what to do, or people looking for their loved ones. There was a lot going on.
So we transported a patient to the hospital, and then once we arrived at the hospital, we handed the patient over to the care team in the hospital, and then we gathered equipment we needed to restock our gear, clean up our ambulance, and went back to the scene to help with further patients if needed.
when our resources get overwhelmed, we end up, you know, doing like makeshift splints were on patients, and the, you know, bystanders were helping as much as they could as well, and everyone on scene was helping in some way. They were, you know, helping others, you know, connect with their loved ones, helping, you know, bring people's belongings to them, things like that. And there's other bystanders that were, you know, family members that weren't even at the festival that were arriving to, you know, help. And, you know, seeing everyone just coming together in that community and helping each other was very impactful, and just, yeah, the amount of help that was happening was interesting, yeah.
But it was quite amazing to see how helpful the community was on scene, despite what they had just been involved in and witnessed.
The work that the paramedics were doing were so swift that by the time, for us, that event only took about 90 minutes from our going to scene to taking the last patient from. And so for me, in my capacity, had I gone to that scene, I probably would have caused more harm than I would any good. So what I ended up doing was going to one of our larger stations and making myself available and taking all the crews that had participated in this event and being able to bring them together, bring them some food, give them some time to decompress and be with their peers and colleagues.
Before I left work, I sent my husband a text, a warning text, to tell him what I had seen that night. And so he stayed awake for me that night, and I got home, and we chatted for a long time, and we sat together for a long time that night, and just had a few tears before bed, and got up in the morning and went to work again.
Hi, I'm Karen Fry, Fire Chief with Vancouver Fire Rescue Services. I think we had 8 trucks. We had 40 firefighters on scene, and 80% of them filed WorkSafe claims. So
80%?
80% of our staff. And I would say probably the people that didn't maybe were on the outskirts a bit more, but yeah, so 32 people had active WorkSafe claims, and we've had 2 not returned to work. It's still really raw. It's still really raw with our city, I think, with that community, I am sure, and really raw with our firefighters. That sticks with me. It sticks with me too, that how everybody came together and worked together. And I think, you know, nobody wants to take any personal recognition for the work that they did at the scene, because, you know, we had too many people lose lives and too many people injured in this event. But hearing how everybody came together to work as a team, and, you know, that's one thing that we in the fire service really believe in, is teamwork. And that team that day was made up of everybody on scene.
Emergency has been dispatched. Ambulance has been dispatched. 911 has been called.
I was not working on Saturday night. I got a call from the newsroom that something had just happened.
I got a call saying that something happened at the Lapu Lapu festival.
So a hit and run of a car, black SUV.
Oh my gosh. We just sat on the side of the road with everybody because there were so many ambulances going by the other way. We knew something had happened. We didn't know what it was. We were hearing something, but you never know until you get there. So we're kind of discussing on the way, like, you know, can we go this way? Probably not. Can we go that way? Probably not. And as we're getting closer, we see, you know, the road's closed off here, the road's closed off there. So we just kind of start meandering in, and we finally find a spot where we can park, because there's still a bunch of cars on the side streets because there was this festival. So we park the car, and as we're parking, we see a group of people right there.
And we got out of the car, we saw groups of people, we just approached them, and they just started telling their stories about what unfolded that night. They were just sort of enjoying a concert had just gotten over, and then suddenly a car had rammed through one of the streets where a lot of the food trucks were, and they literally described it as just bodies flying everywhere off of this vehicle, and they could see the bodies lying on the ground.
To the side, move to the side. Stay back, stay back.
Help is here.
You know, I'm seeing it through my camera, and it was just still hard to listen to, because it was they were so emotional.
I'd never been in a situation like that with that many mass casualties. And just to see that aftermath with everyone standing around.
It's dark, so as I'm moving my camera around, and the police lights would kind of flash, and then I saw a body bag, a tarp over a body, and then another one, and another one.
This is the darkest day in our city's history.
I remember going back to the scene, and there was this massive memorial that had formed, and one of the young boys was there with his grandmother, and suddenly he just burst out and started crying. He told me that his mother, his father, and his sister had died. And so it was really difficult, because he was a high school kid and he lost his entire family.
Here comes a guy, and he's on crutches, and I had seen him the day before. We were in his neighborhood when he came home from the hospital, and he had lost his wife.
What's inside my heart is broken because my wife passed away behind me at the incident.
I have to drive by that school quite often where it happened, so, you know, I always give a thought, give a pause.
But at the end of the day, I think it's really about those individuals, and you try to remember that. And I'm always amazed at the courage people have in sharing their stories with us. And it's so important that we hear from their voices.
The families that did lose loved ones, not everyone was so lucky, and it was obviously a horrific day for so many people, but for them especially, what do you feel towards them?
Sorrow. I can only imagine being in their shoes of losing someone. Yeah, I can't even fathom what they're going through, and for me, even so, like feeling survivor's guilt, you know, from the get-go of like, oh, that could have been me, or like I get to live, like dealing with those thoughts, and or like what if I was gone, and what would my parents do, and like what would they think, and like how would, you know, it's still like an open-ended kind of conversation and unraveling of understanding, and right now I still feel sorrow, and yeah.
I haven't lost my sensibilities. I didn't get a concussion. There's just so many different things that could have happened wrong. I know that. So I am grateful every day.
The feeling when doctors said you will be able to recover and live a relatively normal life and be a mom to Knox forever, how did that feel when you knew that you would be able to recover from these injuries?
It was relief because I'm still here, but I would be naive to think that my body will be the same as it was before. I still live with differences in my body every single day. My body, like, I don't recognize this body still a year later, because I am in some sort of pain all day, every day. Like, this knee is still bruised 10 months later. Like, if I were to roll up my pant, it's still blue. It's never gone away. I know I'm struggling in my own little way every day. It's not lost on me that there are other victims that are beyond what I'm struggling with. And it can't be anything but inspirational. I'm working really hard. I know they are too. We're just trying to get through one day to the next. If just not only physically but mentally. We're not just working on our physical, like getting back to where we were before. There's all of these like mental things.
So as you go back, don't squat into it. Just keep that same knee bend the whole time.
Tell us about your commitment to your recovery, the physio, the...
Oh, 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah, I have a team. I have to see my chiro once a week, my kinesiologist, my physiotherapist, and then I see my occupational therapist once every 3 weeks. And that's on top of everything else I do outside of the clinic. I'm grateful for my team.
Have you been able to return to that site since?
I have twice.
What was that like?
I struggle. It was really, really traumatic and scary, but it's also like knowing what that day was, how beautiful it was before all that. Yeah, I definitely tried to avoid going for a really, really long time because I was afraid of how it was going to affect me. But I had to visit before they moved the memorial just so that I could see how people kind of sent their well wishes and their thoughts and their prayers, and just I felt like I owed it to myself to see that in person.
You're still DJing?
Yeah, but I probably started sooner than I should have. But it's one of the things that make me like really happy and sane.
A and 1 and a 2 and 3, 4 and nice.
Was dance therapeutic for you?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was working on a project and that required me to build a dance language. And I pulled from cultural roots, from my Filipino roots. And I just felt so tapped in and connected to my ancestry. And, you know, it just tied everything in with, you know, with Lapu Lapu and like why we even celebrated that for, and like, you know, like that perseverance of that hero, you know. And I'm like, whoa, I'm doing that in my lane, in my field, and what I love to do. And I was able to alchemize what I was going through, my emotions, and what my community was going through in my art form. And I understood why I was an artist. In a way, there's a level of gratitude that comes after it for me, of like, okay, that happened, yet I'm still alive, and there's a reason why. And my journey is not done yet. My mission is not done yet. I lost a part of myself that night, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking because I grew up in that area, and I just remember me and my lolo after school at St. Andrews, and we would walk to McDonald's, because there was a McDonald's that used to exist there before Dairy Queen. But like, in a way, it kind of tainted those memories.
Is it hard for you to go back to that area?
I do avoid driving that road because sometimes I have to drop off friends in that area, and I wanted to persevere knowing that I was spared and miraculously, and that I have a duty to fulfill. Like, prior to this even incident, my whole motto was to just chase after your dreams.
Joe specifically is the one that saw Knox, and he's the one that directed my friend to go stay with him. He said that he saw Knox kind of crying and just all alone, like huddled up against the fence on the grass. I am aware that things could have been so much worse. And the one thing that really sticks out to me, considering that most of my damage is on the left side, if Knox was standing on the other side of me, he wouldn't be here today.
And it's a year later and you're resuming your life, but you're still struggling.
Mm-hmm.
That can be very lonely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I can have friends and family that'll be there for me, but no one gets it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the closest would be other victims, but even our individual stories are so different from each other.
1 year later, the wounds remain fresh. Many people are still too traumatized to talk about April 26th. And with the criminal court case still ahead, the healing will continue. Today and every day, we remember the victims. We honor those lost and support those who are still recovering. Even in the darkest shadows of the Lapu Lapu tragedy, resilience shines through.